Thank you. The triumphal entry. The next day, the large crowd that had come to the feast heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. So they took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, crying out, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel. And Jesus found a young donkey and sat on it. And just as it is written, Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming, sitting on a donkey's colt. His disciples did not understand these things at first, but when, when Jesus was glorified, then they remembered that these things had been written about him and had been done to him. The crowd that had been with him when he called Lazarus out of the tomb and raised him from the dead continued to bear witness. The reason why the crowd went to him was that they had heard he had done this sign. So the Pharisees said to one another, You see what you are gaining. You see that you are gaining nothing. Look, the world has gone after him. Um, so, in thinking about the Palm Sunday story, just wanted to open up for folks if anything that they're feeling, any emotions, anything that you want to reflect on. I just want to open up to you because I know this story. It's so a part of everything that we believe and are, but also how does it feel in relationship to what's going on with you right now?
Well, when you said what I think I can relate this to the Palm Sunday story because a portion of this has to do with um at least it partially due to political differences, but I think someone who's been a friend a long time ago friend of mine, I think is both having a hard time in her life and also I guess we had a falling out over some political matters. So that is some grief I'm dealing with right now.
Thank you for saying that, and I'm sorry. There's no pressure, but if anyone else wants to add. I'll just quickly jump in. And again, I think it relates to me, like what I think. Before I come with you all, I started to teach ESL with migrant populations, and I'm only sharing this as like I go and it again. Sometimes people come, some people don't. That's been a little bit hard, but um, just to be in the space where people are living and some like and don't have choices, right? And I think there's also a lot of um, people think that like oh they're living in these really fancy hotels and things like that. So just being able to bear witness to well this is actually it's not as grandiose as you think it is, and people people can't even cook in their own rooms, so and I want to just acknowledge like I feel grateful to be able to see that, but also it breaks my heart.
um Talking about this text and my emotional state right now. I just got done recording a podcast episode with Ben for the Piecing It Together podcast, in which we were talking about hope and despair and their in our current context in the US. And one of the questions we got into is like, what is the purpose of a protest? And my thought is protests are less, they're not political moves in and of themselves. They're ways of, they're rallying, right? They're for solidarity, they're for visibility, they're for realizing that you're not up against something alone. And therefore kind of showing the powers that be that there are people in the streets who care about something. And I came up against a read of the Triumphal Entry with a similar imagining of like, what if this was signaling something to Rome about like who we're lifting up as a leader. And so what if this text is less specific to Christ prophecy and it's more protest in that moment. It's more rallying. And it's not an original, it's someone else's thought. It's not my thought, but I think that's definitely fresh as I'm coming to this. And there's some wariness there, knowing how the story turns as well, that this is a moment, but it is not the moment. And I don't know. I think that feels especially resonant just right now too, watching so many people rally in so many ways and still feeling like there's a big fight ahead of us.
I appreciate that read and that like that sharing that. Thank you, because we always learn so much from each other. So appreciate it.
I apologize for being late. I had a call from my daughter, and so I'm not sure what the question or the expressions that we are sharing right now. If someone could help me with that.
Yeah, I had read just the Palm Sunday story, just briefly, and we're just reflecting a little bit on that. So you're welcome. You're welcome to share whatever you feel comfortable. You're right on time.
I was, as I sat in church today listening to the story, I'm thinking not much has changed in 2,000 years. And you know, I almost giggled about it, but also then I get a little bit irritated. You know, the good guys look like they're taken down, but they're not. The bad guys look like they won, but they didn't. Um, so it's just, I thought, I guess maybe the word I need is ironic, to be hearing that in this time and place.
I think that maybe speaks a bit to where I'm at as well. I apologize beforehand. I just got back from traveling and I have the like post sinus, like everybody sounds like they're underwater kind of thing going on. So yeah, it's awesome. But I think that sense of having some cynicism as well as hope. I mean, this is like the roller coaster emotion of like all weekends, right? Like up, down, up, down, up, down. Like emotional calisthenics. But the action of being present with it, giving ourselves permission to stick with it, I think is the moment of difference. That's the pivot. And I just got back from Ireland. So and I was in Northern Ireland. So Easter Sunday and sacrifice and freedom and revolution and defiance and fear and sadness and all those things. Yes, they're contemporary, certainly in so many different spaces and timeless, but they're also encapsulated. So, the pills we choose to swallow, what do we take them with?
Hi, welcome to folks who just arrived. We were just discussing as the Palm Sunday story, and people are giving their input and sharing their reflections. Um, yeah, I just wanted to make sure and if anyone else wanted to add anything or any other comments, uh, yeah. But um, thank you all. And like I said, there's a lot of things that you all mentioned that I love. This is why I think it's so beautiful to talk in community, because there's things that we don't consider, or to hear what other people are thinking about. As I will start us off, but as an offering, and Lori should be coming. Or if not, but if not, also I will, 'cause I know she's also was in transit, but she has an offering that I can offer. But part of it was like today, just bringing something of ourselves to share with each other. So it was mentioned, if you have a poem or a song or reading, or even if you just want us to sit in silence, I'm gonna invite that. I have something to share, but I wanted to see if anyone else wanted to just start us off. Um, and as Lori was saying, our community experiment of love and trying to make sense of this week. So yeah, would anyone like to start us off? If not, I'm happy to. Yeah, please.
I can start us off. Um, I'm part of what we call Rochester Witness for Palestine, Rochester, New York, and it's what's happening right now in Palestine is it just weighs heavy on all of us. This poem was written by a man named Mahmoud Darwish. It was written probably 30 years ago. So there's a note in here that talks about two generations of Palestinians. It's actually now four. Um, so when I get to that point, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's called Afflicted with Hope. Peace has two parents, freedom and justice. And occupation is the natural begetter of violence. Here on this slice of historic Palestine, two generations of Palestinians have been born and raised under occupation. They've never known another normal life. Their memories are filled with images of hell. They see their tomorrows slipping out of their reach. And though it seems to them that everything outside this reality is heaven, yet they do not want to go to that heaven. They stay because they are afflicted with hope. My heart is heavy every time I read that. But I translate that also over to us. We're going through an interesting time in our country, but we're staying, we're working, we're protesting, we're staying positive. We're afflicted with hope, and I try to maintain that hope. So thank you for letting me share that.
I wish I could give you a hug with your consent, of course, from afar. Thank you.
I haven't been here for about a month and I really missed it. So um I'm glad that I could come back, and there's there's a poem by Katie Brown, and it's kind of a meditation, and it's called Pain Ends, and it was written in 2016, and I'd like to share that if we have time.
Please do.
Okay. Deep breath. Breathe in the fresh air. Put your mind at ease. Let down your hair. Let it flow in the breeze. Let your eyes wander to all the beauty to be seen. If these toxic thoughts still you do ponder, then let out a scream. Scream until the pain is gone, until you no longer feel afraid. Open your eyes to a new dawn. Let the darkness fade. No longer compare yourself or your flaws to others' perfections. Take the negativity off the shelf. Focus on your direction. Pick the sadness up off the floor. Sweep it into the wind. Close the door on self-hatred. Never let it back in. For the lies it would tell you, you will no longer agree. Happiness and love are what you should hold on to. They are whom you should give the key. Pay no attention to the toxic thoughts. Listen to those who adore everything you are. Overthinking was what you were once taught, but now those thoughts you put in a jar. Focus on your goals. Never lose your fight. It's time to open new scrolls. Everything will be all right.
I have a poem too, if that's okay. I guess we got wordy. This actually, I wrote this 20 years ago, and it turned out to be sort of prophetic because it was in a time when I was wondering what was happening next, and what happened next is I lost my job. The church fired me, and that became sort of a dark night of the soul, you know, like, why did you call me to ministry only to have a church fire me? That felt like a ginormous betrayal. But I give thanks to God that the hope did, you know, we do cling to hope, right? And this poem sort of helped me actually as a message before that even happened, as a message to God. So I'll read it. It's called Nightlight. Comfort light illumining the lullaby, the stars, the soft embrace, to soothe the inbred fear of dark, hidden, treacherous things. Reckless stage brings strange delight in night, in wild, insistent beat, the rhythm of 1,000 feet, random fear to spite. Blustering, boasting come the words, defiant act, machismo deed, to veil the empty heart in need. Barren soul hope hoards. Soft and silent as the light sneaks in the old song, As soul admits that for so long empty was the godless flight. Now light and yet more light, radiant rapture, rising joy, newborn springs my soul today, brilliant in Christ's might. Christ, my home is light's embrace, never fading, always dear, grows in strength each passing year, glorious in that destined place. Darkness is not dark to thee. Light and life must all abound, even when the night surround. Abundant life eternally.
I think poetry serves well for this medium. So I also brought two poems, both short, both by the historic poet Hafiz, and translated by Daniel Ladinsky. And just as a preface, I like Hafiz and I like these translations especially. He's a very playful theologian. He writes a lot about God's love as irresistible. And he's very flirtatious, he's very romantic, and I think that these are translations that capture that spirit very well. And so two poems that I think are delightful, that I hope strike some delight in all of you as well. The first one is called A Divine Invitation. You have been invited to meet the friend. No one can resist a divine invitation. That narrows down all of our choices to just two. We can come to God dressed for dancing, or we can be carried on a stretcher to God's ward. And the second one is, the translated title is We Should Talk About This Problem. And I believe it's from the author, it's by the author, but the author and the God figure mix and match really slippery in Hafiz's poetry. So hear that with that context. We should talk about this problem. There is a beautiful creature living in a hole you have dug. So at night I set fruits and grains and little pots of wine and milk beside your soft earthen mounds. And I often sing, but still, my dear, you do not come out. I have fallen in love with someone who hides inside you. We should talk about this problem. Otherwise, I will never leave you alone.
Thank you. There is something about this space that invites poetry. I was gonna read a poem as well. And I just, as an invitation, no one has to, but if you want to put the title or the poem in the chat, we can try to keep them so we can have just a little anthology of, but because it's such wonderful poems and things we may not have ever heard of before, right? Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, thank you so much. I will read a poem. I I feel like maybe folks have heard of this before, or I know Lori and I really like it. This is by Yosemir Reyes, and he's a queer undocumented poet and activist from originally from Guerrero, Mexico, and now raised in East San Jose, California. Um, and I often like to share this with my students because I teach, um, especially many of them who identify as immigrants, and you'll see why I think I also want to share with you, given everything going on and today. So this is called A Poem So That the Weight of This Country Does Not Crush You. So Some days you may wake up sad. Some days you may wake up frustrated. Some days you may wake up tired. Some days you may wonder if it's worth it. Some days you may question your own growth. Some days you may think on how immense the world is, to be caged in this country, to be subjugated to all this abuse. Some days you just want to breathe. And baby, I am here to remind you to sit in those moments, to sit in that whirlpool. But just know that there are people like me picking up the load when you can't. There are people like me pushing so the weight of this country does not crush you. That there are people like you who will fight when I can't. We will take turns pushing against these walls. I got your back and you got mine. And in the scheme of things, does anything else matter? Even if our fight is unfruitful, we will depart with our dignity intact. We will depart knowing that this country is losing a prized possession. This country is losing the gift of our resilience. We will watch them as they tear into each other's skins and thank the heavens we never turned beasts like them.
It's 7:30. I wanted to call Joyce to.
Oh, okay. You wanted to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
No, I want you only on two.
Is there any other things people would like to share?
I'm just popping in this time because you sounded like a wonderful group to help lift my spirits. And I see that all of your concerns are my concerns and all of your hopes are my hopes. But my husband has just alerted me to a family situation I have to address. So I will see you another time. Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Or
Yeah, Mindy, yeah, were you wanted to share something?
Well, and I'm not alone in this, but a friend's mother died last week. She was in her 90s, and she had a lovely, wonderful life. She became the adoptive mother to another dear friend of mine whose mother died when she was 11. So, as we go into Holy Week, which is hard, but knowing that the joy that Easter is going to bring, I hold Ruth's family in my heart and prayers as they work through that. As I'm sure everyone here has worked through some difficult times. It's never easy, but it always seems harder when it's near an occasion such as Easter. So, yeah, so I'm working through that. I'm glad for the family that she was peaceful and they're at peace with it. Um, and yeah, yeah. Thank you for letting me share.
Mindy, what do you know Ruth's mom's name?
What's that?
Do you know the name of your friend's mom?
Oh, yeah, Ruth Howard.
Ruth Howard.
Yeah. Are you in Rochester?
No,
Okay,
no,
good.
but I have the privilege sometimes of being with families in end of life care, and names are
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she was at one of the nursing homes and was in hospice care, and the nurse, and I'd worked at that nursing home at one point, and the nurse that was caring for her was very sweet, very funny, a hoot. And she came in and would yell at her, not really yelling, but Ruth, you didn't eat anything. Come on, you gotta eat something. Look, even if you eat some of that cake. And then she would stand there and smile at her. Ruth, come on, you gotta do this for you. So she had some wonderful end of life care. Yeah, thank you for asking.
Thank you for feeling comfortable to share that with us. I just want to give people a chance maybe to sit in some silence and take a few last breaths together as a group. Um, yeah, I have, yeah, so let's do that and then, yeah. I wanted to, if that is okay with folks, to share a poem that Lori asked to be her contribution, if that's okay. And she mentioned to me that it is a poem that I think helping us to think about all the different types of grief that comes with Holy Week. So I think it's appropriate and especially as people are going through different types of loss. And it's I don't know if people have heard of Funeral Blues by W.H. Auden. Yeah, good. And I think it's okay, yeah, to share. Um, but so yeah, I'll read it, and I'd like to think it's also a way of share like Lori's love with us today. So um, actually, and Bethany, since you know it, do you want to co-read it with me, or you don't have to? Oh. Oh, I think you're on mute. Oh, don't worry about it. um, sorry, just I don't know. I'll read it. But if it, yeah, yeah. So it is. Yeah, I think. Stop. Stop all the clocks. Cut off the telephone. Prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the pianos with muffled drum. Bring out the coffin. Let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle moaning overhead, screaming, scribbling on the sky the message he is dead. Put crepe bows around the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest. My noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Pack the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good. Um, I also appreciate Cynthia about the ways keeping hope alive as we close out, because that we are going through grief. We're talking about all these different things, and also at the end of the day, I think again, keeping the hope together, right? The determined hope, I think, is what you said in here. So I love that. Um, yeah, I again, I'm so grateful to have folks contribute today. Um, what a pleasure it is to share both grief and hope together, side by side. Unless there's any other thoughts or love or phrases people want to share, I invite you to stay, and or stay as long as you want, but also to close out. But what a pleasure to see you all today.